Part 2, Storm's Mercy, a ranger's choice in the frozen dark. The wind screamed through the pines like a living thing, hurling snow into Finn's face as he struggled to lift the unconscious wolf onto his sled. Every instinct screamed at him to leave. This was a wild predator, a creature capable of tearing out his throat without hesitation. But the way she had looked at him, that moment of eerie understanding in her golden eyes, it had shaken him to his core. "All right, girl," he muttered through gritted teeth, heaving her limp body onto the cargo sled beside her cubs. "But if you wake up and decide I'm dinner, I swear to God I'm gonna be pissed." The cubs were lighter, their small forms barely stirring as he bundled them into his emergency thermal blankets. The smallest one, a scrappy little male with one ear permanently flopped over, whimpered as Finn tucked him against his mother's side. The metallic collar around the mother's neck pulsed again, a faint blue glow cutting through the storm's gloom. Finn hesitated, then reached out. A jolt of energy shot up his arm. "Son of a..." He yanked his hand back, shaking out the numbness. The collar wasn't just tracking tech. It was active. And whatever it was doing, it wasn't natural. The snowmobile's engine roared to life, the sled groaning under the added weight as Finn turned toward home. His cabin was 5 miles east, a sturdy log structure built to withstand Alaskan winters. Normally, the trip took 20 minutes. Tonight, with the storm and his fragile cargo, it felt like an eternity. The wolves remained still, their breaths shallow but steady. Only the mother's ears twitched occasionally, as if she were fighting her way back to consciousness. Research Station Epsilon 12 orbit above Earth. Alarms blared as Commander Zyron stormed into the control hub, his carapace vibrating with fury. "You lost them," he shrieked at the trembling technician. "And not lost, Commander," the insectoid alien stammered. "The tracking implants are still active, but they're inside a human structure." Zyron's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation among his species. On the main view screen, thermal imaging showed 5 heat signatures clustered near what appeared to be a combustion heat source. A primitive heat source. "A human found them," Crix murmured, his bioluminescent veins flickering with something akin to awe. "And it's helping them." Zyron whirled on him. "Impossible. No human would approach a predator that size without weapons." Crix pointed at the screen. "That human didn't just approach her. It's keeping them alive." Finn's cabin interior. Firelight danced across the logs as Finn knelt beside the wolf, his medical kit spread open. The cubs were awake now, wobbling on unsteady legs, sniffing at the unfamiliar scents of wood smoke and dried herbs. The mother wolf lay still, her chest rising and falling steadily, but her eyes tracked Finn's every move. "Yeah, I see you watching me," Finn muttered, carefully cleaning a shallow cut on her paw. "Relax, I'm not stupid enough to try and pet you." To his shock, the wolf huffed, almost like a laugh. Then the collar beeped. A high-pitched, electronic sound that made every hair on Finn's neck stand up. The mother wolf lunged upright with a snarl, knocking him backward as she positioned herself between Finn and her cubs, not to attack, but to protect. The cabin's windows flashed white. A sound like thunder without rain shook the walls. And then 3 figures materialized in the center of the room. Tall. Unnatural. Alien. Finn's hand flew to his rifle, but the mother wolf was faster. With a guttural growl that shook the rafters, she leaped, her teeth bared not at Finn, but at the intruders. Part 4, The Hunt, When the Wilderness Fights Back. The freezing wind tore at Finn's exposed skin like a pack of feral dogs as he sprinted through the storm, his boots punching through knee-deep snowdrifts. Behind him, the alien's unnatural shrieks cut through the night, closer than he'd like. L7 moved like a gray ghost ahead of him, her body low to the ground as she guided her cubs through the labyrinth of frozen pines. The runt kept stumbling, his tiny legs no match for the deep snow, until Finn scooped him up without breaking stride. The cub's heartbeat thundered against his palm like a trapped sparrow. We need to get off their sensors, Finn gasped, ducking behind a glacial boulder. His breath came in ragged white plumes. The mother wolf pressed against his side, her golden eyes scanning the tree-line. Then she did something that stopped Finn's heart. She nudged his rifle with her nose, then pointed her muzzle toward a distant ridge. You want me to lead them away? L7's answering growl held terrifying intelligence. A plasma bolt sizzled past Finn's ear, vaporizing a pine trunk into splinters. Move! Finn ran perpendicular to the ridge, firing 2 shots into the air. Over here, you overgrown fireflies. The forest erupted in eerie blue light as the aliens activated their hovering drones. One passed directly overhead, then exploded in a shower of sparks as L7 leaped 8 feet straight up and swatted it from the sky with a single swipe of her paw. Research Station Epsilon 12 panic mode. They're coordinating. Crix shouted at the view screen, his bioluminescent veins flashing crimson. The wolf is using tactical. Nonsense. Zyron's claws dented the console. Deploy the Scourge units. A collective gasp filled the room. Even the crystalline Pelnan looked ill. Commander, those are for xenocidal protocols. You can't. I can. Zyron input the codes himself. That human has seen too much anyway. Alaskan wilderness, the trap springs. Finn's radio crackled to life with a voice he never expected to hear. Finn. It's Chief Ranger Hale. We've got unidentified aircraft all over your sector. What the hell's going on out there? A grin split Finn's frozen face. He keyed the mic just as 3 massive, spider-like drones dropped from the clouds, Scourge units, their plasma cannons humming to life. Hale. Remember that crazy story about UFOs Grandpa used to tell? A cannon charged with a high-pitched whine. Turns out he wasn't drunk. L7's howl cut through the night, not a cry of fear, but a battle call. The trees moved. Not from wind. From the dozens of gray shapes slinking from the shadows. Yellow eyes gleamed in the moonlight as the entire Denali wolf pack emerged, responding to L7's summons. The aliens had assumed they were hunting one wolf family. They were wrong. Finn chambered around as the Scourge units took aim. Welcome to Earth, he muttered. Then the forest erupted in fangs and gunfire. Part 1, The Alien Decision, a cold betrayal in the stars. The research station hung silently in Earth's orbit, a sleek, metallic scar against the black void of space. Inside, senior xenobiologist Crix Veller adjusted his ocular implants, the holographic feed before him flickering with static as it displayed the subject in question, L7, a massive gray wolf, her fur matted from weeks of captivity, her teeth bared in a snarl that sent tremors through even the most hardened alien researchers. Behind her, 4 cubs huddled close, their tiny bodies trembling not from fear, but from the unnatural chill of the sterile containment chamber. The mother wolf had just done the unthinkable. She had torn through a reinforced energy barrier, something the Galactic Confederation scientists had sworn was impossible for a primitive Earth predator. Commander Zyron Dock, a towering insectoid figure with a carapace like polished obsidian, clicked his mandibles in irritation, his 4 arms folded across his chest as he watched the feed. This is unacceptable, he hissed, his voice a grating rasp that echoed through the command center. The specimen was supposed to be docile under sedation. Instead, it nearly took off researcher Trell's limb. This is not a scientific opportunity, it's a liability. Crix, a slender, amphibious being with bioluminescent veins pulsing beneath his scaled skin, hesitated. Commander, the cubs show signs of advanced social learning. If we could just, enough, Zyron interrupted, his compound eyes reflecting the cold glow of the hologram. The budget for this project has already been slashed. The ethics committee won't approve further resources for a pack of feral beasts. Prepare the drop pod. Crix's third hand hovered over the console, his instincts warring with protocol. He had studied predators across 12 systems, but Earth's wolves were different. They weren't mindless killers, they were calculating, protective, almost intelligent. But orders were orders. With a reluctant tap, he initiated the ejection sequence. The drop pod, a sleek, unmarked vessel designed to leave no trace, descended through Earth's atmosphere like a falling star. Inside, L7 and her cubs lay unconscious, their bodies limp from the sedatives pumping through their veins. The pod's AI calculated the optimal release point, a remote stretch of Alaska's wilderness, where temperatures would plunge to -40 degrees Celsius by nightfall. No human would stumble upon them. No rescue would come. The wolves would either adapt, or perish. As the pod's doors slid open, the freezing wind howled like a living thing, swallowing the quiet hiss of the stasis field deactivating. Snowflakes swirled around the wolves' still forms, already dusting their fur with white. The pod's thrusters flared, and in seconds, it was gone, leaving no evidence of the aliens' involvement. Meanwhile, Ranger Finn Voss guided his snowmobile through the thickening storm, his breath fogging up the visor of his thermal helmet. He'd been tracking a rogue grizzly, but the blizzard had forced him to turn back. Stupid weather, he muttered, squinting as his headlights cut through the swirling snow. Then, something dark against the white. A shape. No, multiple shapes. Finn killed the engine, his gloved hand instinctively reaching for the rifle strapped to his sled. But as he approached, his breath caught. A wolf. A huge, gray-furred female, half buried in the snow. And around her, 4 cubs, their tiny bodies curled into tight balls for warmth. What in the? Finn dropped to his knees, brushing snow from the mother's face. She was alive, but barely. Her breaths were shallow, her pulse faint. And then he saw it, a metallic collar, seamless and smooth, pulsing with a faint blue light. No tags. No identification. Just a single, alien-looking symbol etched into the metal. Finn's gut twisted. This wasn't a tracking device. This was something else. Part 3, First Contact, When the Stars Demand Their Property Back. The air inside the cabin crackled with an unnatural energy as the 3 alien figures solidified into terrifying clarity. The tallest, a crystalline being whose skin refracted the firelight into prismatic shards, stepped forward, its elongated fingers raised in what might have been a gesture of peace. The mother wolf, L7, didn't buy it. Her lips peeled back in a snarl that exposed every razor-sharp tooth, her body coiled like a spring between the intruders and her cubs. Finn's fingers tightened around his rifle, but he didn't raise it. Not yet. Human, the crystalline alien intoned, its voice like wind chimes made of glass, you are in possession of Galactic Confederation property. Relinquish the specimens immediately. Finn's pulse hammered in his throat. Specimens? He forced a laugh, rough and humorless. Lady, these aren't lab rats. They're living creatures. And they're not going anywhere with you. The insectoid commander, Zyron, clicked his mandibles in irritation. This is not a negotiation. Those canids are classified as level 3 biohazards. Their retrieval is non-optional. The third alien, a bulbous-headed scientist Finn mentally dubbed Squishy, wrung its 6-fingered hands. Commander, perhaps if we explained. Silence, Crix. Zyron snapped. L7's growl deepened, her hackles raised so high she looked twice her size. One of the cubs, the brave little runt with the floppy ear, darted forward to mimic its mother, tiny teeth bared in a comically fierce grimace. The crystalline alien actually flinched. Finn saw his opening. You're scared of them, he realized aloud. That's what this is about. You took wolves from Earth, stuck them in a metal box, and when they acted like wolves, you panicked. Crix's headsack pulsed with embarrassed purple. Their aggression parameters were miscalculated. You abandoned them to die in a blizzard. Finn's voice cracked with fury. The mother wolf's ear twitched toward him, as if she understood every word. Zyron's claws extended with a snick. Enough. Human, step aside or be removed. Firelight glinted off L7's teeth as she lunged. Not at Zyron. At the collar around her own neck. Her jaws clamped down with a crunch of shattering metal. Blue sparks erupted as the device shorted out, and the aliens screeched in unison, clutching their heads as if the sound caused them physical pain. Finn didn't hesitate. He swung his rifle up, not to shoot, but to shatter the cabin's lantern. Darkness swallowed the room. In the chaos, only three things were clear. The wolves could see in the dark. The aliens couldn't. Finn knew these woods better than his own heartbeat. Run, he hissed, yanking open the cabin's back door. L7 didn't need to be told twice. She herded her cubs into the blizzard with military precision, pausing only to lock eyes with Finn one last time. Before vanishing into the storm. Zyron's enraged shriek echoed through the trees behind them. Find them.